Hello? Hello?
Hello,
It
hello.
doesn't work still?
Nah.
What do you mean, not what?
Nah, like it fucking only one side is working.
What do you mean, not? Okay, let me test something else.
Monkeys on parade. Dun, 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 dun.
Just off this. It's yours.
That's better.
Okay, so this thing doesn't work. Hello, hello. That's fine. So I guess, okay. It works both sides? Okay. You good over there?
I don't know. We'll find out.
Oh, no.
Alright, I think
Okay, could we restart the recording? Restart all this. Okay. You do your phone?
And away we go. Hello. How do you look there? Oh yeah. Let's see. Then we can just.
Okay, ready?
Yep.
3. Oh shit. 2. 1. We do a clap?
Okay, it should be one of us.
Go for it.
Okay.
Nice.
Okay.
Alright.
Jake, why don't you take us away? Take us away.
So this is episode 1 of the Saltcast. We're here with Chicken John and Christopher.
Chicken John!
What's up, everybody? Technically, I'm the Chicken Man. Just quell any rumors out there.
It's a distinct difference.
Right.
It's a distinct difference.
We don't know for sure that John is the Chicken Man.
No, that is a mystery. What we know about the Chicken Man is that I'm from space and I'm here looking for Earth's top monkey.
Oh, hell yeah. Love it. How can I become this top monkey?
That's an excellent question.
I think that's a question on everyone's mind. to be
Who
honest
is
with you.
Earth's top monkey?
Yeah.
Who do you think Earth's top monkey is? Because I'm here looking for him. I've talked to a lot of people and I've been seen by a lot of people looking for the top
I
monkey.
definitely think I've been told I'm a humble guy, but I think I'm probably top monkey.
You think
I'm up there? at
Top
least.
monkey?
He's just throwing his hat in the ring.
That's-
He's like right off the bat. Yeah, it's not. I mean, it's not. It couldn't possibly be like Elon Musk or Joe Biden or like Klaus
yeah, they're
Schwab
cool.
or or any of those rich guys or Jeff Bezos. It's Jake Silvers. We
Yeah.
found him. The search is over.
The top monkey. Okay.
So
Jake, what are your qualifications? Well, I want to hear this out. So you think you're Earth's top monkey? I'm willing to hear the case.
That's a pretty big case to make, man. Damn. I'm Earth's top motherfucking monkey because I fuck shit up. I fuck with animals. I fuck with people. I hate and love them both.
Yeah, I fuck animals. I fuck people.
Dude, fuck everything, dude. I'm Earth's top monkey because I'm here to break down societal conditioning. I want people to fuck animals and not feel shame.
Oh my god.
I think they've been doing it in Scotland for like 1,500 years.
I want
they've been doing
people to love Kanye for who he is.
Yeah, right? Oh my god.
I love it. Yeah.
So, yeah, I think I'm top monkey.
You think you're top monkey? I like it. There seems to be a lot of that going around.
So what is top monkey?
Top monkey is the number one epicenter of the human consciousness, and I need to find him because my spaceship broke down, and he's the only guy that can fix it. So I'm just going through all these different monkeys, and you guys are just telling me so many stories. I go around Earth and like I hear, oh my gosh, I can't tell you how many stories I hear from people about like their theories about the power structures or who the top monkey is. Some people don't even want to be called monkeys, if you can believe that.
No one comes up to you and then says, oh, they know a top monkey.
Some people think they might know a top monkey, but no one claims to know the top monkey, and that definite article is definitely important.
Well, some people have, I would contend, have lost their monkey ways. If you look at the memes, you see the return to monkey, right? So this is a growing movement in the
The
collective
monkey
unconscious.
movement is big in the meme space?
It's pretty massive.
Really?
Really?
I mean,
really? I need to see that.
it had a peak. It had a peak a while ago, right? So it's not like
It already peaked. We're late to the monkey meme movement.
a little bit, yeah.
Okay, you go ahead. It's my fault, Jake Human.
Well, there's not much to be said. I mean, there was some monkeys and videos of monkeys and people doing primal stuff, and it's like return to monkey, right? Except for they spelled it without the Y, so it's return to monk. So maybe Little double entendre.
Ooh, we could all ohm to that.
Are you Buddhist?
I was Buddhist for like 12 years, which I guess you never stop being Buddhist technically. Always in that Zen
Well, did you
space.
start being Buddhist?
There's no beginning and no end to the
That's
Zen.
point.
Yeah, I did enter the waters, the streams of Zenism in Buddhism in like around 2008, 2009 on my quest to find this top monkey. It's a time dilation thing. So yeah, I spent some time in there, and I learned to be a cosmic observer.
Time dilation?
Yeah, time dilation.
Right.
Jake knows about it. He knows about monkey memes. He knows about time dilation.
Well, time dilation can happen in, a couple of different ways. If you're in the hell dimension, for example, time's pretty dilated. Every minute sucks and it's much longer, but I think your time dilation is a little bit different.
It's both. It is that. That's
right. It's the dark and
high
the light.
high five for Jake Monkey, and Christoph, we'll get some high fives
I
going.
appreciate the high fives.
More high five. There we go. Get the vibes going. Yeah, it's true. There's Bardo realms. Like when you go into like hell realms or different dimensions, it's like Christopher Nolan rules. You've seen your Christopher Nolan human films, right?
Yes.
And like when they go into different places, the time works different. Like in Interstellar, they go on that planet, and it's like whatever. It's like they go down on the ship, and then their shipmate's almost dead. Right? That poor old guy, he's like,
Yeah.
oh, I didn't think you'd come back. And they're like, yeah, we just had to get a Slurpee while we're down on slow time planet. And like, they were like, what are you doing? It's like time dilation, dude. And that's what happens, like, because everything, whole universe is relative, right? You guys got that message on Earth.
Yeah.
So what that means is that like time on this planet goes different from time on this planet, even though technically in the transcendental timeline it's the same, right? Because it's the same source energy going to both planetary systems. But when you get down on this one, your life cycle signature, remember all time is relative to the being's lifetime cycle. So 100 years to you is what you base everything. If all of a sudden we live to be like 10,000 years old, then a fucking day wouldn't matter anymore. Right?
Well, don't you
That
think
makes
at that
sense.
point, like, okay, you live to be at 10,000 years old. Here's the thing. At that point, you have a different, your life would be exactly the same life expectancy. Let's say you're an elf that lives 500 years or whatever the amount of years are, you can still look at life the same way that we look at life, because an ant basically lives for a certain amount of time. They don't have any perception of how long their life is compared to our like clocks. So if you live 10,000 years, you wouldn't even like, it wouldn't even affect you. You wouldn't even think about it. Like we don't think about it like, oh yeah, we maybe think about how long our lives are, but it would be the same exact thing depending how long we live, because you're still living that one life no matter what.
But that's the thing, human,
You
is
look at
that,
the
is that you're
days.
aware that you have a life. And that's the number one question. When I go to other planets and I engage these other species, because my species lives to be about 10 million of your years. And so I've been doing this for a while, I'm not going to lie. And when I meet new species, I look at them and I go, oh, are they aware that they're going to die? That's the number one thing to know about if they're aware. And if they're not aware that they're going to die, then they're not aware. Then they're just going, they're having an experience when I meet them, but they don't have any of the timing that kicks in. Because you immediately start putting a calendar in your head when you know you're going to die. And it doesn't matter if it's monkeys, like I meet porpoises, they know they're going to die. Octopus know they're going to die. Whales know they're going to die. There's animals on the planet I've met who know they're going to die. And that totally changes their perceptive awareness of the timeline schedule. And to me, that's what triggers their evolutionary sequencing from higher sources. And that's what I'm engaged in, is like looking at evolutionary cycles of life cycles of human sources. Well, not just human, but all animal species. And like now it's an exciting time on the planet, because according to the GPS on my egg ship, this is the time where humans actually learn to start talking to animals.
Well, you see that a lot on TikTok too. A lot of people are like kind of communicating with their animals. You see a lot of weird shit where the animals are communicating with like pads, and also people are very much more invested in like, I guess, telepathy. Like how come your animal can understand you, kind of talk to them? I can see that in another 100 years. Imagine dogs talking to you. It'd be fucking trippy. Imagine that shit. Implant in the dog's head and implant in your head, and it basically tells you, oh hey, this is what your dog's thinking, and he's talking to
So,
you.
John, do you think that communicating with animals, since it should already be happening, is going to happen through a sort of digital interface like Neuralink, or will be more from our awareness gets so keen that we can pick up biorhythmic cues in a more precise time signature, so we're seeing a lot of these more tiny micro movements, and we can just, from that, sort of soul connect with the animals, right? And
Soul connection.
right.
Right?
So which one, or do you think if we really get advanced, it could be both, where we actually have a digital interface, which...
What do you think? You're talking it out. Do you think...
Digital will be first, 100%.
You think?
Yeah.
Okay.
100%.
I'll present this as evidence, and then you can take it again.
100%.
Have you ever met a parrot who spoke English to you?
I've seen it. I haven't met it, but I haven't met one personally.
You're aware that like birds do actually speak English, right?
Yeah,
Mhm.
they
Right.
definitely have the capacity to say words.
Did you ever see Coco the gorilla, the sign language gorilla that you had here on Earth?
Yeah, that was crazy.
And she was would you say that she was communicating as a being to other beings?
Oh, absolutely.
So
I think
I think it's a touchy topic. From what I've seen, I think these animals can be communicating, right? But they're never communicating something outside of what's like immediately relevant to the situation they're in. They can't take a outside context. Oh shit, an outside like situation and like map that onto what they're doing right now.
Well,
Whereas humans talk about the future and about the past, right? And that's one of the things that defines a conversation, is you're talking maybe over different time scales. Maybe.
I've studied your employment structures, and you guys have a habit of employing German shepherds as actual law enforcement officers. And apparently this goes around all around the world. And apparently they problem solve, they listen to commands, they get paid, they have actual rank in the military and law enforcement, and apparently they're pretty good at their job.
That's. I mean, I don't know about communication. I just know that like, what kind of communication? Like telepathy, like the things are going to talk to us for real. They already are communicating in some sense.
Yeah, that's. Well, I think that's the solid first step is to recognize the animals already are talking to you guys and connecting and like doing all sorts of things, and they do telepathy like across the boards. It doesn't matter from like the air to the land to the deep oceans. Every area you can find an animal that has a human that it's learned to talk to in some capacity that's like scientifically verifiable, right?
Mhm.
So but a lot of humans don't know that yet because they're still on this monkey trip, right? Because there's a different thing from going from a monkey to a human, and that's that's the evolutionary trick for all monkeys to humans right now, right? That's a whole different discussion. But once they realize that lots of them are talking to lots of the other animals, then you can go, oh, how do we like raise the roof on this, and then like, because we want to have raves with giraffes and rhinos and like, flying parrots, like a Walt Disney film. I've seen your Walt Disney films, and the animals are supposed to hang out and like help you get dressed in the morning and stuff. They're not supposed to be like little furry slaves that you cut up and eat because you're hungry for like more football. I mean, that's not really cool, guys.
I totally get that. Like, it should be more. I guess they should be mixed together a lot better. Humans and animals. It's kind of vicious. Like looking back, you're like, oh, when you see these fucking lobsters and these crabs just getting fucking smashed. Like it's like, oh Jesus. Like, then can't you always just look at like that's just nature? Like in nature, animals fight each other, they kill each other. So what's the problem with us doing it?
It's the point when it goes to scale. When you humans use your mental abilities, you have creator abilities, and from what I've read from like all of your sacred texts across all the globe, you only have one job, and that's to take care of the planet and be nice to the animals. And like when you guys start only having them be birthed and slaughtered at scale for personal enjoyment and laziness of hunting, then you guys have violated that mandate, and then bad shit happens.
Bad shit happens because of that.
Oh yeah, when you start screwing with the soul flow, like when I go planet to planet and I see the soul flows, because I have a spectrometer on my egg ship that like measures soul spectrometry, and part of the reason I came here is because Earth's soul, the Gaiac soul flow, is very very low, like on the point of extinction, and like the soul flow that comes into the Gaiac entry point is not just it's for it's for the Earth chakras for one, which is what the pyramids are. The pyramids are Earth chakras transmitting biodata out.
Chakras.
Yeah, and then. But the soul flow, if you start abusing births and deaths of beings, whether they be your species or other species, then there's an element just like water. It's like damming up the soul flow, and then you'll get less souls coming into the planet, which is why some souls are bereft of life, because like for various reasons the soul flow has been interfered with, right? And right now we're on a sequenced life cycle of Earth where it's teeming with life. But the life is definitely being abused. And that's the message that comes from those slaughtered animal souls that goes back to the sun. Is they're like, holy shit, I didn't even get a life. They're like, I got born in here, I was stuck in a cage, they slit my fucking throat, and now I'm back at the sun. And eventually that goes back to God / Jehovah, and he's like, I don't, this has got to change. Like you have to send like an actual like message back to the planet that's doing it. And that's when the births stop happening. Like you'll know the apocalypse is here when the animals are born dead and when the humans are born dead. There's no more souls. That's when the true apocalypse happens is when the soul stops coming in. And we're like really close, which is part of the reason I was kind of bummed to crash here, because I was hoping to crash on a civilized planet. But here I am, and all I'm trying to do is find Earth's top monkey.
And you're stuck here with us, dude. That sucks. Like, you could have landed on a bunch of different places, and you're stuck here. Like, come on.
Yeah, it's a tough one.
But what do you guys think about the animals?
I've always loved animals. I mean, animals are pretty tasty. I know that like Sadhguru and other like practitioners of Vedic science and gurus say you shouldn't eat animals because if you live in a peaceful lifestyle, you don't need the materials that meat gives you. Whereas like if you're a fighter and a hunter and a barbarian, you need to be eating meat to fuel that sort of biochemical state, right? But when I eat meat, man, I feel pretty good. I feel bigger. Feel manlier.
Right.
I like beef.
Yeah.
And I like to go fishing. I like killing things. I love like animals being alive. You know, the fucking nature is beautiful. I've spent a lot of time in nature. But I mean, I've kind of thought about that too. Like, it's not people when they're eating meat. It's like, oh, this comes from the grocery store, you know. And if people really had to like go shoot a cow in the face to get their Friday night steak dinner, I don't think most people would do it. I know I would do it. And
I think a lot of people actually would do it.
I think
surprisingly enough, they would like people say that I would never. I can. But when it comes down to it, if you're hungry, they would definitely kill the cow.
They would have to get hungry first. Whereas, of course,
Yeah.
That's the only way.
But that's natural.
like if I couldn't go to the grocery store, I would, and I'd raise the cow. The minute I can't go to the grocery store, I'm shooting that cow in the face, right? Like, whereas most people are gonna like wait a couple of weeks, like, no, it's Lucy, we love Lucy, we raised her from a calf, and it's like, nah, I raised Lucy to eat one day, you know, and that understanding, like that I've been carrying with me the whole time I would be raising Lucy is part of why I think I'd be top monkey, right? But also part of why this factory farming situation is always, I mean, when I was little, I found that pretty like abysmal and appalling, and maybe that was the true way to see it. As you get older, it's kind of like, oh, well, it's just part of the machine, and if you want people to be able to eat a burger for $1, you need to be cool with it, you know?
Yeah, that's true, Jake Monkey. Burgers.
Okay, like you can't like do away with our base human like wants and needs. Like that's really hard to do. Like yeah, you know people are like peacekeeping. They don't want to be eating meat and stuff like that. But like it's so nice. Sometimes a hamburger just for our palate is so tasty.
Hunting and gathering's fine. There's nothing wrong with like eating animals. It's just the point it's gotten to. I've noticed on my readings that it's like out of control, and it's like it's not serving any survival mechanism either. So it's like just out of balance. It's okay to kill animals and eat them, but hey, don't be afraid to have a relationship with an animal you're gonna eat. You know, and then you can go shoot him in the face like one of your Tarantino films.
Yeah, I'll woo that sheep.
You'd be like, "What's up, Lucy?" You go, bam, 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 right? You should shoot a You let her know you're taking her out gangster style too. You don't even. It's not like a nice last day. You go in the meadows. You just come in like Mr. Pink. You're just like, boom, 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 boom. And Lucy on the inside's like, I knew this day was coming.
And she loved you. She trusted you. She's like, oh, Jakey.
John, could you tell us a little bit more about this egg ship? Is it a physical spaceship, or is it more like a transcendental object, beyond the end of time?
Okay, it is a physical ship. I like that. What you're talking about, that's the inner ship.
I see.
Yeah, you're nailing it. But no, I actually do have a spaceship. It's called an egg ship because it looks like an egg, and it's very metaphorical, and it's crashed, and I can't fix it. And I do have some things linked up to it. Like you may see me on my hoverboard, and like I got some digital things, and I'm working with stuff I can't like really release to humans yet, which is fine. That's a whole other thing. But I have a feeling Top Monkey's gonna know a lot of what I'm talking about. So that's kind of like the thing. But yeah, you can go to the edge of the universe if you want. You just take some mushrooms, take a lot of mushrooms and set sail. You'll be good.
You can go to another universe.
Yeah, you get there. That's it. Oh yeah, back to the relativity thing about the time, right? So that's how the whole universe keeps going too. It's just the relativity. It's like you have a world here, you have a world here, and the vibes that are created and the tension between just the existence of them. Although maybe tensions, it's in the physics term, not in the emotional term. These planets aren't giving each other anxiety.
Well, you never know. You never know if they are like intellectual beings in some sense. Earth is like a biosphere in itself, you know.
Ding,
All
ding,
of us
ding.
are just on this planet. It could be real. Who the fuck knows?
Christoph coming ahead in the lead on this monkey race.
Monkey.
All of a sudden, we got planets having consciousnesses.
I played Donkey Kong a lot as a kid. I know a lot about monkeys. I love that.
So, tell us about your travels. Is there somewhere you've gone recently, or any new beings you've been talking to?
Well, I've been here in your Beverly Hills the last, like, about a year. So, and I've been traveling between the Beverly Hills and the Hollywood, and it seems to be the area with the most interesting humans. You know what? They keep telling me say humans. And I'm like, look, you guys say you're monkeys.
Yeah, it's your monkeys.
I was like, your monkeys.
Accept it.
I was like, whatever. Like we got missing links.
Oh, I
and
mean, I
stuff.
also wanted to ask this earlier. You said, you want to be on human level, not monkey level, right? But you're looking for Earth's top monkey, and so that seemed a little, not reconciled.
Yeah, it's marketing. Because then the monkeys will be like, oh, that's one of those,
yeah.
right? Because that's one of the things too. Is like when I talk to the monkeys, then like when they refer me to a human being, they almost act like a human being who's also a monkey base layer. They act like they're almost like not real or like something. They'll be like, oh, that guy's like da 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 da, and like oh, like they're like mythical or something. And then I go and meet them, and I'm like, oh no, this is just an activated human being. And that dude was a monkey, and sometimes the monkeys have trouble seeing the human beings. And the problem on this planet is some of the human beings won't turn bad and turn on the monkeys, and those monkeys don't know that, which is like a whole other thing that's occurring.
Okay, so the human beings that were enlightened or what did you say?
Activated.
Say I have to quote enlightened because I couldn't remember exactly what you said. Because I quoted enlightened, I was like, that's not right. No, activated. Why would they go back and disrespect the other monkeys? Why would they go back and like?
That's
crazy.
The general consensus from them, the guys who do it and the girls who do it, is to make their orgasms better.
What?
To make their orgasms better.
Excuse me.
To go on a power trip, which is always rooted in making your orgasm feel better. And then just making them feel, just feeding their ego, just good old fashioned feeding their ego. And then it turns out some of them also believe in Satan, which is a whole nother bizarre thing on this planet. It's been outlawed on almost every other single planet that I've been to. And like out here, it's like, oh yeah, you can just like not be into source energy. And you're like, well, what's the opposite of that? They're like, nothing good.
What's source energy? I don't know what source energy is.
Source energy is you know what it is, don't you, Jake?
Probably not I couldn't probably speak as fluently as you could on it, but
source energy.
All I know experientially is I feel that there's a flow maybe going on outside of me that I can participate in, and it'll optimize the contents of my life. And then there's also, the ego, right? Which, because I think in the Bible it's possible that Satan is a representation of the psychological function of the ego. And I don't know, and I'll leave it at that. And so maybe source energy is this blissful feeling you get with not operating in a sinful way. But I don't, that's my best guess.
That's a pretty good guess. Christoph, you got a guess? Just a guess. I mean, we're just guessing here, and then,
I'm a dum-dum, so I don't even know. Like, honestly, source energy, it could be anything. You can make an explanation for anything. Everyone's definition of that could be anything. There's literally infinitesimal options.
Yeah.
Source energy, okay?
Okay.
Food could be source energy.
Yeah,
food, but then everything could be metaphors of source energy. Like, it's just energy. So I don't know what source, or it could be universal energy, it could be God energy. You can probably retitle it 100 different ways. I don't know.
Yeah, for me, source energy, so we have Big Bang, right? Like, in the beginning, there was nothing, right? There was just like a blank void that no one can really wrap their minds around. Even my people can't wrap their minds around. They just know, hey, there's this blank void before anything existed. And then in a spectacular moment, everything just shot into existence. And at that very, very moment, the very moment that you can imagine it coming into being, all the energy of all the creation in that very pinpoint, that's source energy. And furthermore, like, that is the life force. Like, that thing came into awareness, gave birth to itself. And that's what you guys call God. It's what people call Jehovah. It's what people call life force, supreme being, whatever you want to call it. So at that moment of the Big Bang, it came in and said, oh, I don't know, I didn't exist before this, but now I do. And so I noticed that nothing else is existing, so I'm going to make sure that there's one mandate for everything, and it's going to be that eternal replications of the infinite miracle. And so the life force just spreads out that way. It's like in Star Wars, like your movie with George Lucas made about the Orion Wars, like that was like, oh yeah, that's right. That was a documentary, by the way. That was what he showed was we know outside of this solar system that was actually a thing.
That was a real thing. That
was a real thing. Yeah.
There's no way that's a real thing.
It's a real.
There's
thing.
no way it's a real thing, Brett.
Dude, if you could see Chewbacca and not think that he's real.
Bruh, come on. It's not a documentary, bro.
It's a documentary from a galaxy far away. It's not, he says it up front.
Talk to your mic really fast.
Yo, it's good. Yeah, hello?
Ooh. Now we're sounding sexy.
No, it's sounding sexy. Okay, if Star Wars is a documentary, I'll eat my fucking underwear. Okay.
Well, that'll be on episode 5. You're gonna get a lot of viewers.
On the next episode.
People are like, what underwear is Christoph eating this episode?
It's not gonna be good for me.
No, you can circumvent the system and get those like edible underwears.
But I have to wear them first. That's the key.
Bill Murray said the trick to chicks is you either don't wear underwear or you wear really interesting underwear.
Nice.
Yeah, he said that.
Wait, so who doesn't wear the underwear? The
I'll wear
girls
some
or the
panties next time I
guys?
get
Well, those are your choices, he says. So if you see Bill Murray, he might maybe he's top monkey. Yeah, we're getting warmer here, folks. Yeah, thanks guys. Yeah, I like this. See, but yeah, so that's the life force. That's the epicenter of it all. So when you meditate, you should so meditation is what separates the monkey from the humans. Like that's the key bridge. Is when you start meditating, then you can start. You just do a boot up. Like I was fortunate because you do a hard boot. Like I was fortunate because I come from a hybrid race of like we're sort of animals, but we're mainly like chickenoid beings, and that's a whole different evolutionary pattern. But for you guys, like you have all these manuals from all these people in like India and in caves and shit for like 5,000 years of like they got little manuals and they all say meditate. Just sit there and think about it. That's all it is. Just sit there and think about it.
Have you meditated? Has your race meditated?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, like a long time ago, and now I'm enjoying the fruits of their labor. Because when I popped out of my egg, I was just like, yo, I'm ready to go, and it was.
That's great.
So you're kind of like always in meditation?
Basically, yeah. Like that's a great question, Jake Monkey. Like, yeah, for your perspective, I'm basically.
You're Jake Monkey.
I'm sorry, Jake Human.
Yes.
I'm not sure if
I'm getting the hang of this. I didn't know it was so offensive at first,
Oh God, how could you? We are very, very self-conscious about being called monkeys.
Yeah.
The monkeys are very, very self-conscious. Come on.
Yeah, honestly, like eat a drive-through cow, but be sensitive about the words. That would be a good fast food for you, drive-through cow.
So can humans be turned into monkeys?
What's that?
Can humans be turned into monkeys?
He said they were, for some of them,
No,
backwards.
he said,
Yeah.
well, that term I kind of associate the people that, like, they understand their creator powers, and then they turn and they're like, oh, I'm gonna fucking use the monkeys. Like, is that kind of like Sith Lords? Is that what you mean by, like, Star Wars is a documentary?
Those are evil people, yeah. Yeah, Sith or whatever, like, dark mythology that you have in your culture that explains somebody that uses the power of worlds to do bad stuff. And unfortunately, there's a lot of them on this planet. It's like crazy. That's another thing we scan for. That's the other thing too. Is like I normally could just like send all my info back to home planet and it would be fine. But there's like a weird stealth envelope around this particular solar system, which is usually a hallmark of what we call the Anunnaki, which are like bad aliens. They basically have a way to like disappear solar systems where they can just like put out this tech that basically stealths it out. And the reason they do it is because they're alien slave lords. And we suspect that that's what this monkey planet is that it's a slave planet. Like your James Spader movie, Stargate. Like it's a lot. We suspect that this is an alien slave trade. Like you monkeys don't know where you're from. You don't have an origin story you agree on. You don't know what your evolutionary trajectory is. It's the whole none of the planet makes sense. But what we do know is that you guys are always working and your leaders are always killing you. That's what we know for sure.
That's fucking heavy metal, and I dig it.
So this is like a soul prison almost.
100%, yeah. It's like a soul prison, dimensional hell. Your Buddhists say it's a hell. Your Buddhists don't fuck around
But
with
it's
that.
not that bad. It doesn't feel like the hell.
Dude,
Must
I'm
have a
having-
different definition because this isn't terrible. I bet you. I mean, maybe it's terrible for some people who got imprisoned and enslaved. I guess, yes, that's fucked. There's a bad juju with our planet, and I would say within a lot of ways.
Yeah.
At least in the human race. Or monkey race.
Yeah, well, how to tell you this? Well, when you're
You don't have to tell us. It's okay. You don't have to. Don't ruin my day.
I won't ruin your day, but like, since we're having a truthful conversation, like when you're on a planet with a healthy set of humanoids, and the planet's not in artificial dimension. By the way, the moon's not real. When you're not in an artificial dimension and you're fully activated, you're actually able to like fly around and manifest stuff like a cartoon and like live like an actual creator god in your Marvel movies.
That sounds fucking sick.
Yeah, that's how it's designed to be. That's why we know we're in the hell.
So we don't have all those powers, so you know it's hell.
That's exactly right. And when you look at the history books, the only goal of the leadership across all of the global countries throughout all the history of all the friggin' textbooks is to stop people from getting their superpowers. And anytime people start to get the superpowers, they go and kill them all.
When was the time people Damn. That's fucked up.
It's fucked up.
So, can you tell me a period in history where people were very close to getting their superpowers?
I would say right now, to be honest.
All right.
Cheers to that.
Cheers to you humans. Yes. That I think like even I'm on evolutionary trajectory, so I think my ship crashed here to help with all this because I never would have come here.
Yeah.
I'll tell you that.
You
much.
don't want to take a little vacay out here?
Yeah, no,
you didn't want to stop on Earth for your soul travels.
This place was like, dude, these places don't exist. You don't understand. Outside of this little galaxy that like where this thing got hidden, this shit is like a myth. This is a nightmare. Like there's no one believes that this even exists. Are you kidding me? It's a civilized, creative universe, folks. This is like no one thinks that this kind of awful, horrible shit is happening anywhere. Nobody, because like the rest of the universe is a loving God that like looks over us and lets us have a good time. This is a nightmare.
Lot to take in. And my day is officially ruined.
We'll get it back.
Yeah.
We are in the closest moment in history.
Yeah.
The last time in your Earth journals that the humanoids on the planet got close to this was Atlantis. That was the last iteration of the era where they almost got it. And they had Thoth and they had the tablets of Thoth, and they were so close. And I still haven't been able to go through your history books and determine quite why everything went afoul. It looked like a nuclear mishap, like took everything out. But looking at the history of this planet and knowing that there are malevolent extraterrestrials that pop in from time to time to like screw shit up, it's not out of the like because that's what the Bag of Vegeta is about.
So I got a
Do we
quick
have
question.
benevolent?
We do have benevolent aliens, and there's a lot of them that are coming in this last like 30 years, like you said. That's why this moment, because they had us all, they had the monkeys all set up to like be done this time, like for real done, and it was gonna be real bad, and because they had learned, the bad guys had learned the lessons from the previous two iterations, because they are in contact with malevolent extraterrestrials, and satanic and demonic beings, and those guys are timeless, so they've been running this war for like 200 million years on the planet. So they when they meet with these humans that die off really fast, this is why the life cycle understanding is very important. Like if you're like an infinite demon and you like you're like, hey, I have a plan, and you're like, oh, well, I can spend 20,000 years on this planet on Earth, right? But what do you have to do? You have to corrupt a family line, and you get the family line to teach them to hand down the demons. So they'll have like a dungeon or some shit where they do their like satanic communications, and they'll contact the family demon. And that demon is always there through all the different lifelines. So it seems like mind-blowingly mystical to these monkeys because they do not become humans. But he's doing like a 10,000 year plan, right? But he's mowing through like 50 generations of these guys, but he always gets them rich and he always gets their orgasms good, and they always have dope cars, and they always got, they got everything, right? And then the family secret becomes that's the guy that's running the show, but the guy running the show is a demon. And then surprise, surprise, that demon works for a higher demon because they have their own structure. And then these guys typically work for what became modern corporations that began with the old aristocracies. That's where the original corporations began with. They were just fascist wings of like ruling classes, and they like rebranded them in the last couple hundred years as businesses, but they're not. And they all report to Satan. And that's like, it's in all your films, it's in all your media. Everybody, like almost, it's an open secret to everybody, which is why now we're finally at the moment where once everybody realizes that at once, we're like, oh, fuck these guys.
Okay, why wouldn't Satan just reveal him? If this is like, or is Satan are you using that word like loosely? Because like, At this point, why wouldn't Satan just be like, "Oh, I'm real," and fucking fuck shit up? Like, if I was Satan, that's what I would do. Maybe that's a monkey human aspect to say, because like if you're Satan, you have all the powers. You're like, why is he invisible?
I think it's because as humans we like to personify like cosmic forces
as
right?
as a look of human or something that we can understand.
Yeah, exactly.
So it doesn't always necessarily have to be a person or something.
Yeah, but in this case, it is.
Oh, so, okay, never mind, dude. Fuck you.
But here's the thing.
I see.
So Satan has like a physical form that he manifested.
But here's the confusing part: is that like everybody does have a devil in them, right? You have a capacity for light and dark quotient. That's real. That's why morality matters, because it determines the weight of your internal balance, right? So everybody does have a devil. Everybody's got a Gandhi and everybody's got a Hitler. Everybody's got one of both, right? And whichever one you feed more is the one that like gets fat. So it's probably not Gandhi, but like. But the thing is like, so everybody's like, oh, the devil, yeah, you got a devil in you, but that's not Satan. Satan is well documented to be an angel who was thrown out of heaven that just basically was a dick, and he thought he could do the job better, so he got kicked out, and he's just been sulking on this planet, and he just turned it into a huge torture trap. And there's not a bunch of them. It's not like there's a Satan on every planet, and he's not all powerful. He's just one super powerful angel. And he recruited a bunch of people, and the way he recruits them is he taps into that devil in everybody, and he gives them that weird ideology of, oh, well, it's a disembodied duh. And then okay, well then who's calling this? You know, what was Stalin doing then? If Satan isn't in one guy, then who's the guy signing all the paperwork to kill 20 million monkeys? That's a Satan, right? But there is just one guy because it's a pyramid scheme. And there is one dude, and they know who he is. Like, that's their top level dark enlightenment. Is they go, oh, like I think in your movie The Omen 3.
Haven't seen it.
Oh yeah, the Damien who is the Antichrist.
We'll have to watch.
So wait, so maybe I got this wrong, but there is a monkey. Well, there is a disguised monkey right now on Earth that is Satan. Satan is wearing a monkey costume.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
Holy shit. Well, tell us about. Do you know which monkey is Satan?
Well, I'm trying to figure that out too. I have narrowed the list.
He's got missions.
I got missions. I've narrowed some of the lists down, and like I see likely candidates, but it's like when you watch your mafia movies, right? The real top mafia monkeys, right? What are they? They always make a point to not be seen, right? Mm-hmm. They always, oh, dude, don't show the money, like, cause then right? Like Denzel Washington, and he's like doing all. And was that American Gangster?
Yeah.
Yeah, and he's like. No, you just don't show yourself, and you keep under the radar, right? And that's how these guys are. Now there are names on the list that many of your good humans have like whittled it down to. One of the guys is this guy Pepe Orsini, he's the head of an ancient Illuminati Italian family who had two popes in his line. There's a gray pope and there's the black pope, which is the Jesuit pope, and there's the white pope, which is the one everybody sees. And his title is the gray pope. And the Gray Pope is the one that both those guys report to, and the Mafia reports to him, right? And his family dates back to like 400 AD. And they had their first Pope was in like 700, and their second Pope was in like 900. And then, and that's the thing, as Americans, you have no idea how that generational wealth works. Like, there's no way for you to know that like your family's been rich for like 2,000 years and like the kind of power that he accrued. And so Pepe Orsini seems to be one of the likely candidates for it, because it seems as though you ever see that movie Spectre? Mm-hmm. The James Bond movie?
No.
Oh, in the beginning they have the bad guy meeting, and Christoph Waltz, he plays the head bad guy of like all the bad guys in the whole world. And that's basically who Pepe Orsini is. And then also when I've been looking at your internet, that's what the Pepe memes are. Because Pepe's name dropping on Pepe Orsini.
Pepe
the frog. Yeah, the frog that like
Pepe the Frog.
And...
Well, okay. My understanding of Pepe the Frog is Pepe was the original name of a character that happens to be that frog in some like niche fringe online like webcomic that like blew up in like a small community, right? And so unless the guy, and I never read it. I just wanted to understand that lore when Pepe was first emerging, like in the memescape, right?
Memescape. He's a memescape expert.
Yeah.
I don't know about all that.
He's like, I'll be modest.
I will be a meme professor one day. There will be meme professors in 20 years.
Yeah,
in
I
10
agree.
years or 5 years. And if you take the time to understand the memes, you could be one of them. Anyway, so unless the guy who wrote that
future ad.
The guy who wrote that webcomic, unless he was like super tapped in and he was just like dropping these little fucking like zip files through his comic into our consciousness just because he was tuned in, and so he happened to make this frog's name correlate with that that guy who's in the family of popes, right?
Pepe Orsini.
Okay, put on your mushroom consciousness, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like your DMT, you're flying around, everything can synchronize however it needs to.
Oh, right.
Quit the linear time.
Of course, it's not linear. So this is just like these are
He
just like casual synchronicities.
He made the stuff happen. If he didn't make that Pepe, there would have been another Pepe that came up, a different Pepe, like from wherever. It could have been like Pepe at Turkey, but it worked out that like his stuff was prepared by the universe through the life force energy, which knows no time or scale, and those were prepped, and then it was peanut butter meets chocolate kind of thing.
Yeah.
They just hooked up, and it turns out that Pepe Orsini is a real guy, and it turns out that the biblical prophecies are that frogs will come and get him, and it's just there you go.
Damn. So fucking Pepe is the raining frogs in the Bible.
Yeah, that's what the raining frogs is, because we're in the digital age. You gotta like transliterate everything to the digital age.
How can we get Pepe Orsini on here?
Oh my gosh. I don't think I think there's
That'd
like
be pretty hard.
I mean, I'd have to teleport him in. If I get my egg ship fixed, I could teleport him in.
If you do, let us know, because I'll be sick.
Yeah, we
Pepe
could do that.
Orsini, that'd be great. We'd love that.
We're like, hey, we have a theory that we think that you might be Satan in the flesh. How would you like to respond?
I think Satan would actually go on the podcast. He would. He'd be like, okay, yes.
Christoph wants a villain monologue. You're gonna be like, I want to be the most evil bad guy in the world, and then why don't they villain monologue?
So
I want to see him.
Was Hitler Satan?
What's that?
Was Hitler Satan?
He wasn't the Satan, no, because you got to remember, when you chase down the Hitler stuff, he got financed into that, and that's where you really start getting into eventually into the Pepe Orsinis. It's like you go, oh, okay, there was a regional bank manager that approved the loan for the war, which is just factually true. There were local corporate things, like IBM built the Holocaust machines that did the tracking for it. They got sued and lost in court in Germany for it. They got caught doing it. The corporations have aided and abetted genocides for your entire history. And so Hitler is some small fish, but he was a cult of personality, and he didn't even kill the most people in your war. He was in second, third place, because
Mao and
Stalin.
And Stalin,
yeah, they killed a shitload of people. I mean, it was unbelievable amount of people they killed.
Damn, so there's somebody operating from behind the curtain that financed that whole shenanigan.
100%. And they've been doing it for a long time. And if you study up the history of the Rothschild banking network, which they were crypto before crypto, and then they just came up with the first one, and their whole system is basically when you look at it, it's satanic. It creates debt. It's every country they introduce it to, it destroys the country over time, every single one. And they communicate with each other just to choreograph wars. Because why? Because their war partners are some of their biggest money makers. So, and they can never get caught for it. They never get caught for it. So they'll just be like, okay, well, our members want a war here because then we'll all make money and we'll finance both sides. And they've been doing that. It's in the history books. That's the scariest part. Is I talk to people and they go, okay, where's the top monkey? And they go, we get in these deep conversations. And they go, oh, by the way, all the stuff I'm saying is in your history books. None of it's it's not secret.
I'm just trying to digest all that too.
Yeah. That's why heavy metal exists too, to help people. That's all what Black Sabbath is about, which is taking down the military industrial complex, really.
I love Black Sabbath. So.
They're the best.
Anytime anyone brings up Black Sabbath, I'm always
Dude, why don't you talk for a few minutes? Tell people how much you love Black Sabbath. Let's do a Black Sabbath 5.
Black Sabbath is it's just really Ozzy. I love Black Sabbath. I love what they stood for, but Ozzy is just the penultimate rock star. He's my top monkey. Okay, he's my top monkey. He's the best. Come on, no one else embodied that lifestyle as badass as he did. No one else. You can look at Jimmy Page and you look up the Beatles but who's Rolling Stones, they were fucking cool. Iggy, they're all fucking cool rock.
The dude is still alive.
What?
He's still alive.
Ozzy?
Yeah.
Yeah, he's still alive.
Dude, he's fucking.
He's still releasing out. He's still sicker. His voice is still good. He's just and he partied forever.
He's in his own land all the time too. He can't talk. But
he's partied so hard for 50 years, more than anybody else, and he's still going. So it's this. He's the ultimate, And
could Ozzy be the top monkey, John?
What's that?
Could Ozzy be the top monkey?
I mean, I'm not objecting to him. I mean, he's not. It's not the criteria I'm looking for. Not my tempo, but but in everybody's lane, there's a top monkey. So Ozzy, dude, perfectly acceptable.
Everybody has their own top monkey.
Until we agree on who it actually is.
Oh,
but right now, we all have a placeholder of who it is. But back
really?
to everybody's got one. It just nobody talks about it. But everybody has a hierarchical structure in their mind. That's another thing that they manipulate. But aside from the negative aspects of it, everybody's got one because that's part of the way you evolve out of the jungle. Is like you have to keep track of everything. Oh, that's dangerous. That's not dangerous. That's more powerful. That's less powerful. I want to fuck that. I want to eat that. I want to lick that. I want to slide down that.
Slide down that.
Someone who does some research in neuroscience, that is factual that the brain is organized hierarchically. That is true.
So everybody's got a top monkey. You just got to talk it out and figure out where it's at or wherever. But like, okay, back to Ozzy though. Back to Sabbath. Okay, favorite albums.
I mean, I would say his first solo album is the best for me. I love it because I don't know, and also his actually most recent one that he has Post Malone on. What's it called? The most recent one, not Take Me to Hell. I forget the album name, but it has all the ones with Post Malone and everything on there.
Is that the Hollywood is Bleeding?
No, that's Post Malone's album.
Oh, on Ozzy's. Oh, gotcha. Yeah.
Is that the one that has Scary Little Green Men?
Yeah.
Yeah, look it up.
I can't look it up on my phone. Actually.
Oh, your phone's up there. Gotcha.
We have.
Your phone hasn't been recording though.
Yeah.
It turned off.
It got bored. Fuck you.
Yeah, no, my phone was out of batteries. It's at 9% anyways. And what is the most recent album called? Do you have it on here?
Yeah, there's internet here. What does your species think about using illicit substances, psychoactive agents? Good
Yep.
or
Oh yeah, it's Ordinary Man. That's what it is.
Ordinary Man.
Yeah. I remember. I remember showing him all these songs, but it's just like so sick that he can be able to. I don't know.
Still
he
do
still
it.
comes has.
Yeah.
Imagine you being at 70 years old writing these songs and going to studio and be like, he's killing it so hard. It's crazy. It's crazy. I don't know anybody else that does that shit. I don't know anybody else. No other like name one other person. Name another rock star that could do that. That is doing that. That's that old.
There's only one that I know that rocks out at that age from your scans. That's Mick Jagger. But Ozzy rocks.
He's not putting out like albums.
New songs, yeah.
Like,
Yeah,
look how many
that's
albums
true.
he put out. He's still going. Like,
Yeah, you're right.
That's the difference. He's putting out tons of music. I'm like, okay. He's crazy. He can't even talk right, but he goes to the studio and he's singing this shit, dude. Like, come on. It's beautiful.
So do you have what are some of your favorite songs of his?
I don't know. I love off Blizzard of Oz. I love everything off there. Of course, War Pigs is obviously one of the top ones. Obviously, that's just good because that talks about what you're talking about. The like military-industrial complex is so fucking preeminent in that, and it is like my call to arms. Like when I think about that, because just all of the lyrics. I don't know. I don't know if he wrote all the lyrics, but I'm pretty sure he wrote a lot of lyrics for the band. But he's like so smart. It's so fucking good. All the lyrics make so much sense, and they're not lame. They're not like bad rhyme schemes either. It's perfect, and it's not like oh, down with the man, not telling us what to do, not being. It doesn't feel heavy-handed if you're looking at the poetry, which I really appreciate from Ozzy. I actually don't know who wrote that song. I'm pretty sure he wrote most of the songs. That's what's crazy.
Wow.
That's
impressive.
Because I'm pretty sure he wrote all of them. He writes a lot of them. Yeah, anti-war protests. Let's see. Who wrote it? Geezer Boutier. Evil Itself. Songwriter. So I guess the whole band writes a lot of it too. It's just their songwriter has them all on there, so it doesn't really say who singly wrote them. So I don't know who wrote the exact lyrics, but they do it so well. Whoever is
It's probably Ozzy.
Yeah.
Some bands do that, like the Doors that all take writing credit, even though.
Yeah. Oh, the band often altered the lyrics significantly when performing it live. Interesting.
Have you seen them live?
Oh, Ozzy?
Mhm.
Or Black Sabbath? No, I haven't seen Black Sabbath live.
Have you seen Ozzy?
Yes.
How was that?
Oh, amazing. It's the best. He's just... he's not like he was when he was 25 or 30. He's old. It's he just can't really walk around that well. It's not, he's just standing there and just doing his thing. That's really it.
Maybe you can get Ozzy in here and ask him those questions.
I would love that.
Perfect. If you hear that Aussie monkey,
Aussie monkey.
I got a quick on Aussie human. If you're hearing this somehow or you're feeling it, come down with Christoph and Jake, and dude, you make their lives.
Aussie human. Let's
Aussie
go.
human.
Please come in.
One of the
Get
best
in here.
humans.
Dude, Ozzy would be the best guest ever. I don't care. I would record the fuck out of that. Oh my god.
We're bringing drinks.
I would bring drinks, drugs. I don't care. I would do the
We'll bring it all, dude.
I'll do everything right there.
We'll die right here with it.
I will. Easy call. Anyway, so love music, love that stuff, but I have a thing like all your things, all the stuff you've talked about so far, they're like, oh, they're interconnected in some way, and some people would call that conspiracy theory. Some people would, but a conspiracy theory, I don't really like that name, because conspiracy theories obviously has a bad, not a bad connotation, but like a connotation like, oh, it's just random. So
Yeah.
how can you help people who are speculative on what you say? What would you tell them?
That the evil guys just have a good business plan and they've been using it for hundreds of years, and you just have to read your history books knowing that you're watching a global mafia play you for fools.
And why are they playing us for fools?
Because they're the ones causing all the bad stuff and then profiting on it on the other side. And we've got all the receipts and all the banknotes, and we know how they do it, and it's out in the open. And they just like condition everybody to accept it, that that's the way it was. When I don't know if you remember earlier when I told you how the planet's designed to run is that like we have a free run and we're all like super powered cartoon characters basically. They know that that's how we're supposed to live, and then that's why they're playing us for the fool. They're like, no, you're just supposed to show up and like twist a wrench and like get $10 an hour and beg me for one steak a month, and like
if they potentially they could get that too, that superpower, right?
yeah,
And
some of them do give themselves enhancements. Their problem is when you look at it, since they don't do organic enhancements, since they're not doing it with source energy, they try to supplement it with mechanical means, transhuman means. They'll get implants and they'll basically turn themselves into cyborg.
Yeah, so I actually wanted to ask you about that earlier, because I thought at a certain point in the conversation we were getting close to transhumanism, and when we were talking about communicating with animals. So do you think that getting powers through like a neural link, like being able to interface with all of your brain's loops and just deciding what connects where, so you're feeling how you want to feel all the time, you think that would be like a soul prison?
Mm-hmm.
That, yeah?
Especially if you look at who's making them. It's real simple. It's 5G versus 5D. Which one do you want to live in? Do you want to live in 5G or do you want to live in 5D?
So I don't know dick about 5G. 5G is like something I heard a bunch of like crazy Christian mothers who've gone down, like been indoctrinated by like fucking Facebook cultures that are just like mind cancer, right? And they're convinced like the telephone towers are gonna fuck me and they're gonna make my kids retarded, and it's the end of the world, right? And whenever I heard that, it's like, well, you got a microwave in your home, that's just light on the electromagnetic spectrum. Like I don't know if fucking Wi-Fi is above or below. Oh well, 5G's higher frequency, right?
Yeah, shorter amplitude.
Okay,
frequency.
so I like also thought, okay, maybe there's some credence to this in the sense that the more high frequency an electromagnetic wave is, right? The more powerful it is, the more it can degrade your DNA. But the fucking sun's got more swole beams than our 5G towers do. So what's the fucking difference,
Because the 5G ones are designed to destroy your DNA and like carry biometric information. It's basically a frequency prison. And if you really want to get deeper into it, with the injections they just gave everybody for COVID, it does have graphene oxide in it, which does react to 5G. And like you can look at the scientific studies on that. So, and they come from the people who want them dead. That's the other way not to trust it. But basically, it just comes down to like,
if I'm like high conscious enough, can I just assume that my body is just gonna nuke the one jab I had to get to?
Probably, yeah.
Yeah, okay.
If it didn't get
I thought so.
If it didn't get you in the first 12 months, yeah, you're probably all right. But the people that like, all of your Earth studies say that the third booster is the one that has the spike in mortality rate, which is unfortunate because when you also look at where it's being deployed, Israel has already had their compulsory fourth booster. So somebody really doesn't like Israel. And Australia's already had compulsory 4. And like so a bunch of these like mass groups of humans have been injected to a point where, by your own studies from your own scientists, they're not going to be around for too much longer. So that's kind
Not
of
me though. I'm built different.
Yeah, you're fine. Like
I'll be good.
If you got one,
I'm built different.
You're built different. But in terms of like the easier way to think about it is like the transhuman stuff, you can achieve all of the powers and better through your, like if you look at your Tibetan yogis and you look at the Indian yogis, any kind of yogis that you like, or monks, or a lot of musicians are really monks in disguise. That's why like you guys like you see, because to get that super high vibe, you gotta like get spiritual and like. So if you just look at, and same with like a lot of actors and like there's a lot of high level beings, high vibe beings, right? So you look at a high vibe being and you go, oh, how'd they do it, right? And they're almost inevitably gonna tell you through like meditation, good eating, good sexual practices, like a good life, like fun. Like you can still do sex, drugs, and rock and roll.
I think that's right.
Right? But if you're like some fucking loser and somebody comes in and says, hey, for $250 I'll implant this thing in your skull and you'll be like a superhuman. Well, I mean, maybe you should like think twice about that. Maybe you should like do the hard work.
That seems a little cheap. I'm like, nah, bro, I'm good. I'm good on that.
But yeah, some stuff's all right to use. I mean, I fly around in spaceships. So I'm not gonna sit here and tell you like
Egg
all
shit.
tech is it's an egg ship. I'm not gonna
My
tell you
whole
all tech
like
is bad.
idea about the Neuralinks was that it's kind of like, I think Jung has a quote. He was a pretty good top monkey, so insofar as the smart ones go, and he was like, beware of unearned knowledge, right? And so if people can interface with their brain and make themselves feel how they want to feel, it's like, well, now how you feel is your karma, right? So you're supposed to be feeling that way based off what you've done, and so if you can just kind of override that, it's gonna might fuck up your shit. I don't know. That's
High fives, yeah.
it's just a theory.
No,
It's
that's
just a theory.
It's just a theory. When we get an editor, then that'll be the just a theory. There we go. That's a heavy metal high five right there. We're gonna keep it there. Right? Wait, one more. There we go. Yes. Okay, fine.
World peace. Love.
We're here for world peace, everybody.
World peace is where it's at. Don't know if that's achievable in the next 2 days, but we'll see about what happens in the next 2 years. Boys, this has been great. We got a 55 minutes episode. I think that's good for the first podcast, just so we have enough. That's
Nice.
Get that down. Thank you guys for listening. I hope you really appreciated that. And we're going to have Chicken Man back on next episode to continue this conversation and make sure we get
A little bit deeper.
a little bit deeper. A little
Let's
more
finally get
enlightening.
deep on this one.
Oh,
Ease
let's
in,
get
feel
real
good.
deep. Real deep with it. Hey guys, calm
Deep.
down.
And dirty.
And dirty. And we might have some other supernatural guests coming on next episode as well, so stick around and watch that.
Very soon. Thank you.
Thank you guys.
Thanks,
Thank
everybody.
you. Let's see if your phone's still on.